Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is my 48 hours review of the 2026 Moto G. Now, honestly, I've been using this phone on and off for the past 48 hours, and one of the things that I want to discuss about this device is how incremental of an upgrade Motorola has done with the 2026 model, especially when we're comparing it to the previous generation. So let's have a little bit of conversation. Obviously, design is one of the first things that a lot of people would look at, and the design is pretty much unchanged other than one thing, other than color, of course. The camera cutout, as you guys can see, has a different shape than the previous generation, which we will definitely talk about the camera later on. But essentially, other than that, it's basically the same design, the same form factor. And yeah, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's what Motorola thought. And this is definitely one of their highest selling phones just because of the price. So the price point for this phone still is at $199 brand new, which, to be honest, for what you can get for this phone, I think there are better options at this point in time. But basically, one of the first things that we have to talk about is this same vegan leather material that is kind of, you can think of it as a more premium plastic. So the sides themselves, though, are basically plastic, so they didn't really change too much in that. And the buttons, the right hand side does have your power / fingerprint, and you also have your volume up and down. They're tactile buttons, good, and the fingerprint sensor is decent enough. It's not the fastest fingerprint sensor that I've used, but it's for the most part reliable and good. The other thing that I want to discuss, and honestly it's one of the most disappointing things about this device, and that is the display. So Motorola has given us yet again a 720p panel. So the only two good things that come out of this panel is that it is brighter, so in outdoor conditions it still is pretty good, and you still get the 120 hertz refresh rate, which is all nice and all, but I would sacrifice the high refresh rate any time of the day to get a higher quality panel. Watching videos, browsing the web, going through social media on this phone is gonna be fine. It's just almost feels like an outdated experience. And the bottom of the phone, believe it or not, still has your headphone jack. So if you still use a headphone jack, you still have it here. And they did also increase the charging speed, so now you get slightly faster charging speeds on this device. And as far as the performance goes, this phone does have the same specs as the previous generation. In fact, it has the same specs as the 2026 Moto G Play. Unfortunately, when it comes to that, you have only 4 gigabytes of RAM. The only upper side that it has over the Moto G Play is the storage. So you still get the 128 gig storage versus the 64 gigs that you get on the Moto G Play, but that's a story for another day. And you also get a slightly larger battery than the previous generation. So if battery is your thing, then this is definitely going to be the phone for you. So I definitely highly recommend that if you want a slightly bigger battery. Okay, so as far as what I'm concerned from the performance, the daily tasks, the phone app, the messaging app, anything that would require just your daily needs of a phone, this phone will function fine. Now, the 4 gigs of RAM in this day and age, unfortunately, is a little bit on the lower side. The reason that is because obviously we live in an age where AI is a huge deal. And with AI, it takes a lot of processing and it takes a lot of RAM. So 4 gigs, 2026 is just unacceptable. I get that this is a $199 device, but I feel like with everything that's been going on as far as the advancement in software, we should be able to get 6 gigabytes of RAM easy and still keep it at the same price point. Okay, so the next topic of conversation is going to be in the camera department. So you still get the same 50 megapixel sensor from the previous generation, which takes some acceptable pictures. It's not the greatest pictures that we'll take, but it does decent. However, the big upgrade here is in the selfie camera. So the selfie camera does get an upgrade at 32 megapixels, which is a higher resolution than the previous generation, and it does produce better quality selfies. At the end of the day, this is a $200 device, so pictures are not what you would essentially look for in a phone at this price point. But it does decent for the most part. It definitely competes with something like the Galaxy A17. And if you guys want to see that comparison, make sure you leave a thumbs up for that. Okay, so overall, my 48 hours impressions are this. It still is a bit of a letdown. It's definitely an incremental upgrade, and I do have to say that if you have the 2025 version, don't go ahead and rush to upgrade to the 2026. If you have the 24 or the 23 model and you're a diehard Motorola fan, then yeah, this might be an option for you. However, for the $199 price point, you can get the 2025 Moto G Power. Keep that in mind. So with that being said, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do have my final review in the works for this phone, and I do also have a separate camera review coming very soon. So make sure you subscribed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.